Hi, thanks for watching the video. Congratulations on your offer. I don't want to say congratulations too much because at this point we do have to get through our due diligence period. As you know, I know we discussed this, the buyer can always terminate the contract within the due diligence period. So on that due diligence date at 5 o'clock, if we haven't heard anything, then we can start to celebrate. So I do want to review the due diligence money and the earnest money and how that works again. I know we've talked about it before, but it is important that you truly understand that. So there's two fees, the due diligence money and the earnest money. Due diligence money, the buyer does not get that money unless they close. They don't get credit for it. So they're going to send us a check for the due diligence amount made out directly to you, Mr. Miss Seller, Mr. Seller, or Mrs. Seller. And you go to the bank, you send me a picture of that, text me a picture, and go ahead and take that to the bank and cash it. That's yours. We're going to sign a piece of paper, send it to you in DocuSign saying that you've received that money and you've accepted that money and you cashed it. So the buyer can get credit for it at the closing table, but if they walk away, they don't get that money. So the earnest money, that's going to go directly to the attorneys. You don't see that money until closing. They will get credit for that money. But if they go over the due diligence period and they terminate the contract 2 days, 3 days before closing, or 10 minutes after the due diligence period, that earnest money is ours. Okay, but that does say with the attorneys, but your due diligence check is going to come directly to you. They could mail that actually to our office, and I will personally give that to you or get that mailed out to you as well. So we did talk about the due diligence period and what that means. So hip hip hooray, we got a contract. However, let's make sure we get to the due diligence period, then we can celebrate and say, hey, now we're in the clear. So this brings me to a good point. So a lot of people say, when can I start packing? I personally don't tell people to start packing until we get really close to the due diligence period, or we just get over that hump of the due diligence period. So if somebody's looking for let's say a 30-day close, but they want 28 days for due diligence, it's just not going to work, because I personally don't want you to start packing until we get really close to that 28 days, but that doesn't give you but a day or two to pack your house. That doesn't work. So we're going to need two things. Either one or two is going to happen. They need to extend the due diligence period, or the close date to 35, 40 days to give us a week or two to pack, or cut that due diligence down to maybe 17, 18 days so we know where we stand. So we are going to have inspections. Everybody does have inspections. They could do radon inspections, which if they do leave a radon, don't open your windows or keep your doors open for an exterior period of time. The inspector will see that was done and have to do the test over again. But they could do a radon inspection, and they will leave that machine in the house for 2 days. They will have a general inspector. They oftentimes give us the dates, a day or two before. We'll give you as much notice as possible. We prefer our clients not to be in the property for the home inspection. However, it's your house. You can do as you please. Most sellers do not stay at home for the home inspection. All right. So after the home inspection, we will get a report with a, quote, due diligence repair request. Now that request usually takes anywhere from 4 or 5 business days, sometimes 6, 7 business days to come back. So a lot of times buyers review it with their agent, review it with friends, family member, maybe a general contractor to talk about the report, and then they'll put everything in writing that's important to them to be fixed. Just so you're refreshed and you remember, we as the sellers do not have to repair anything. Most sellers are reasonable and say, hey, you know what? If I was buying this house, I would want these things fixed. Therefore, let's go ahead and get, maybe a certain amount fixed, half fixed, or all of them fixed, depending on what they are and what the costs associated with those are. So that's our due diligence. So oftentimes people get surveys, and unfortunately they can tell us, hey, the surveyor's coming out at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, or the appraiser's coming out at 2 o'clock on Wednesday, and they come out at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're wondering who's putting flags in your yard. So we'll do our best, but oftentimes these folks, if we don't represent them, unfortunately we have no control over when they come. You don't have to let them into the house, but an appraiser doesn't need to be inside the house. But generally speaking, our inspectors that come to the house are generally on time. If they say they're going to be there between 1 and 1:30, they're usually on time. All right. So that's the due diligence repair request. So I want to talk about attorney fees. So the buyer pays the majority of the attorney fees in a transaction. All right. However, we do have some attorney's fees. Those fees usually go from $275 to $350 depending on how much work an attorney needs. And if you're not present at closing, it's usually anywhere from $100 to $125 to set you up for a power of attorney. So you don't have to be present in closing, and someone else, either your spouse, a friend, or some cases, depending on the lender, we might be able to sign for you as well at closing. But those are your attorney's fees. We're also going to send you seller information sheets. It's extremely important that you take the time to fill those out and get those back to the attorney ASAP. What they're going to use that for is finding out what your payoff amount is. And they need that. Sometimes banks require 5 to 7 business days. So if you wait 2 days before closing, it's probably going to delay your closing, and you're not going to be happy, neither is the buyer. All right. So when it comes to an actual closing date, well, actually, one more thing on the information sheets, you do not need to send those back to us. Those need to go directly to the attorney's office. So when it comes to a closing date, unfortunately, there's a lot of things that are out of your hands and ours. So the closing date, be flexible. Be flexible. So if you have movers coming and you're heading out of town to New York, let's say the follow or that evening, once you get everything packed, or you're heading to Florida, wherever you're heading down the road, just be flexible. Always ask the movers, hey, do you have other dates possible, just in case? Oftentimes lenders are a day behind, 3 days behind. Something happens in the loan and they need an extra week. So once we agree to do repairs, we'll have folks come over, do repairs. We'll help you find some people to do repairs. If you have somebody, that's fine. Otherwise, we can help you. The buyers will come back over for a walkthrough. They usually check on repairs, maybe one time during the process and one time, at the very end, make sure the home's still in good condition. One thing I want to note, this is some helpful advice here. Go ahead and let the lender know up front, whoever your lender is, let them know that you're closing on your house and give them a good forwarding address. They have escrow money for you for taxes, for homeowners insurance. That is your money. So we do need to get that money back, or the lender needs to get that money back to you. So make sure and call your lender and give them a good forwarding address. Also, we need to cancel your homeowner's insurance. Obviously, you don't need to keep paying for homeowner's insurance if you don't own the house. So I usually suggest setting up the homeowner's insurance. Leave it active for a day or 2, 3 days after our original close date, just in case things get pushed back. It'll save you a phone call later. And a lot of people ask me, Dan, do I need to pay my mortgage? Yes, you need to pay your mortgage. If we're closing on September 1st and the bank says, hey, we want you to pay your mortgage, go ahead and pay it. They will refund you that money back. But go ahead and pay your mortgage. Do not stop paying your mortgage. So if you call into the bank and they ask for you ask for a payoff amount, just so you know, the attorney with that seller information sheet, they are going to ask for your payoff amount. Now that amount is going to be different probably than what they give you at the bank. It's going to be probably a couple $100 difference. It always is, because the interest is figured different from the number they give to the attorneys for what you see and what the customer representative sees on your normal statement. Okay. So taxes on your final closing statement. Your closing statement is also called the HUD. Your taxes, if the tax bill is not due yet, which our tax bills don't come out till September 15th, your taxes, you will pay taxes on the property from January 1st until your closing date. And you ask me, Dan, I've been paying taxes this whole time to my lender. Why can't my lender pay it? Well, because the tax bill's not ready. So what will happen is they are going to take that money that you've been paying from now until July, till August, September. They're going to send that money back to you. They have the legal obligation to send it back to you within 30 days after closing. So you will pay your taxes at closing, however, be reimbursed. If the tax bill is already out, so if you're closing after September 15th, then you will get, they will go ahead and pay the whole month or the whole year of taxes, and you'll get a credit back, and you'll just get less from the escrow check from your bank. Okay. So how do I receive my funds at closing? A lot of people ask that. Two ways. You can either come back and pick up a check. It probably won't be ready right at closing. Come back the next day. Or you can bring a voided check with you to close, and the attorneys can wire the money directly into your account either that day or the following business day. Okay. We will get a closing statement. We will review your numbers with you. You should have a decent idea already of what you're going to walk away with at closing. We'll review those numbers. We probably already have. Especially if we knew exactly what your payoff amount was. We should have a really good idea at this point. And then finally, a couple more things. Keys to closing, garage door openers. Go ahead and bring everything with you. We'll arrange that, with the buyer as well, how they want to pick things up and make sure everybody's happy. happy-go-lucky. In regards to cleaning your house before closing, some people do, some people don't. I always recommend just a light cleaning. By the time they move in and bring a lot of dust, it's probably going to be pretty nasty once they get done moving their stuff anyways. But I believe that's it. Like I said, when it comes to inspections and all, we'll do our best to get you as much notice as possible. Unfortunately, sometimes things change at the last minute. So just remember through this whole process, unfortunately, we have to be a little bit flexible on certain things, especially on close dates, inspection times. We will turn your property to under contract status online and in the MLS. So we'll probably go down to a few showings. We can continue showing the house as well, just for backup offers. If you don't want to do that, let us know, and we can change the status to no more showings whatsoever. Otherwise, we'll say continue to show the home. Besides that, I'm here. Gwen's here with us as well. Any of our other member staffs here to help you as well. But once we get past that due diligence date, I think we're going to be looking fine. But congratulations again on your offer, and yeah, look forward to seeing you at the closing table. If you have any other questions, give me a call, shoot me an email, text, whatever's easiest. And once again, we're never too busy for referrals. So if you have a family or a friend who's looking to buy or sell real estate, we would love to help them as well. Talk to you soon.